telling all flock members, if you want to become truly elite, for just $1 a month, you too can become an elite bad bird. Check out my Patreon account. Link is in the description.
Hello there, my flock. The Badraven is here, and we are moving on with the Friday the 13th marathon. We are on part 11, which is, as you can tell by the screen behind me, is Freddy versus Jason. This movie was a long time in the making. This goes all the way back to when they did the New Blood. This was supposed to be Freddy versus Jason and the New Blood. That was where it was supposed to take place, but he got pushed back because of the rights and stuff like that. So they could never work out a deal with Paramount. So when New Line got a hold of it, was where Freddy built New Line. That's where he was born, and they was able to make this to be happening with their company. So that's how we got Freddy versus Jason. This comes on the heels of Jason X. This came out in 2003. Jason X came out in 2001. Also made by New Line. Well, this one really upped the ante of the New Line production of this franchise with Friday the 13th. They couldn't evidently use the name Friday the 13th, so they had to put Jason and everything. That's why everything is like Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason because of the Friday the 13th stuff. But anyway, let's get into this movie. I was really looking forward to a good movie when I went and watched this back in the day. I watched this at the Millsboro Theater because there was no Tri-County Corbin Theater then. This is the regular Corbin Theater I used to work at. But I watched it up there because at that time the screen was the better screen. So I was looking forward to it. I love Jason, Friday the 13th. Freddy, I'm not a great fan of. I did like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and part 3 I liked really well. The rest of them I could take them, leave them, kind of like Child's Play. Had some couple good ones. The rest of them were trash. Nightmare on Elm Street kind of falls to that, but I was looking forward to nonetheless because they're both big characters, they're both big horror icons. To see them verse each other was completely blowing my mind at the time in 2003 because it had never been done. They never really put two big icons together in a movie like this before. So I was hyped. I was kind of disappointed when I found out that Kane Hodder was not Jason in this. It was another fella, Ken Kersinger, played Jason in this, and he's the guy that in part 8 you've seen when he went and Jason went to New York in part 8. He was the bouncer that tried to throw Kane Hodder's Jason out of the bar or whatever, of the diner that he went into that the kids were trying to get away from him from. He's the one that was the bouncer, the big guy. Well, he gets to play him in this one. The director wanted a bigger fella than Kane, and that's what ended Kane's run as Jason, and this new guy took over for this movie, for sure. But anyway, it was set, like I said, it was made in 2003. We'll kind of go on who directed it. Directed by Ronnie Yu. This was written by Wes Craven and Victor Miller. You got Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, of course, the great Robert Englund. That really does a tremendous job with Freddy. I take nothing away from him, even though some of the movies I didn't like. He really performs great in all the Nightmare on Elm Street. I really like him as Freddy Krueger. It's just the stories on some of the movies is kind of like in the Friday the 13th. You get into some crazy ones. Like I said, we have Ken Kersinger as Jason Voorhees in this. Monica Keeney as Lori Campbell. And she is a fine looking girl. I have to say it, when I watch her in this movie, she's very attractive. I know she's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really think she's very attractive in this movie. A very good actress too. I think she's a very pretty girl. Great actress. Does great in this movie. Jason Ritter plays William Rowlands, and he's the son of John Ritter. You can tell a lot of the look of him. He takes a lot after his dad. You can tell he's a young John Ritter. Also a very talented fellow. Kelly Rowland as Kia Watterson. Chris Marquette as Charlie Linderman. Brendan Fletcher as Mark Davis. And that is the main cast. Alright, let's get into this movie. Like I said, I was really looking forward to it because I don't think I had a problem thinking about maybe with this movie is Jason doesn't talk. Freddy is the big mouth, the one's always doing the one-liners, always having the great little kills and stuff like that. Which Jason has a lot of kills too, but I mean, he doesn't talk when he kills. He just goes in and kills, and that's it. So I was kind of worried about how are they going to have a story of them two fighting if Jason's constantly not saying anything. I mean, how can you get a conversation? I'd be like, I was always thinking, what about a Michael Myers and Jason movie? But they both don't talk. It would be really boring. They just come and look at each other and maybe throw some, machetes and knives at each other and do a few things. I don't know. But this one, at least I know Freddy could, talk. So they open up in this movie. We got, you have to have your typical little rap story at the beginning of it. Prologue, I guess, to all the stuff that's happened in the past. They pretty much go where the ending of Jason Goes to Hell, kind of ignoring Jason X completely goes up in space. And they tell about how Freddy has been forgotten by the children of Elm Street. And that's how his reign has been stopped. They have figured it out. If they cut him out of everything, media, everything, newspapers, put the kids that have problems in a nut house and give them medicine do not dream, hypnosil, I think they called it, that they can wipe him out. And he's talking, he's showing him, he's telling about his past, how he terrorizes children of Elm Street, and how the parents end up burning him up in a fire, and he becomes a nightmare, which he says he's become worse than anything they ever could imagine. So they talk about that and how he's not been able to get out of hell. I guess that's where he's located with Jason. So he's trying to find a way out, and he figures out he can use Jason and bring him back to life and get the kids all scared or something. I don't know, start talking, thinking that Freddy's back, that they'll start thinking about him, they'll remember him, and he'll be back in full power again. So you get the little stuff showing Jason come back to life. You see him, Freddy posing as Betsy Palmer's character, the mother of Jason Voorhees, Pamela Voorhees. They got different actors playing the mother. Not great, but I know Pamela Voorhees turned down the offer to play him, the mother again. Kind of generic, Pamela Voorhees. And they show a little cool scene though of a girl skinny dipping. I always love that kind of stuff in a horror movie because that's what these movies are. You have the little bit of the nudity and a little bit of the risque stuff in it. So that was cool. And they show Jason come back to life. They talk about how he's back into how Freddy's got him back in there, and he's going to start his return. You open up with the main characters that I was telling you about. The Lori character that's played by Monica Kinney. She's there at her house. You have her friends, Kia Watterson. Kia's with her, played by Kelly Rowland. A couple fellas come over and they're trying to hit on the girls. Their friend Gib is come over with her boyfriend. It's like a rainy, stormy night, of course, in a horror film. I don't want to get into the graphic details, but anyway, the one of the group go upstairs with her boyfriend. They do all the stuff that they do in a horror film. After they're finished, the girl goes to the shower. The boy's still in the bed. And, of course, Jason just shows up. I guess the door's open somehow. He magically appears in the bedroom and squishes the guy. Well, he machetes him out of pieces, of course, and like bends the bed up and bends the guy backwards in the bed, which was a pretty gruesome kill. I like it. Great practical effect. I thought the effects, it did really good with that kill. The girl, of course, comes out and sees all the blood and freaks out. And you have Lori, and she's like freaking. They call the cops They come all running out of there and tell the cops that the guy's dead, and everybody at the police station automatically thinks it's Freddy's MO, and they won't tell the new cop anything about the name because they won't even say his name out loud. It's just like it's been stricken from the record, and they know if they say his name, it gives him more power and he can come back, because that is Freddy Krueger. The story I thought was a pretty good story though. So you have Jason pretty much doing the run of the mill, killing people left and right. He ends up killing the friend of the boy that was killed in the bed with his girlfriend at Laurie's house. Decapitates his dad while this guy just dreaming. The boy is dreaming, and Freddy comes out, but he's still not powerful enough to kill the young guy. And he wakes up, and then Jason has pretty much decapitated his father. He's sitting right beside him on a swing. Getting a good kill by Jason again on the front porch. Slashes him. You got two people dead pretty quickly in the storyline. Laurie is going crazy because she has a boyfriend that she has not seen, which is the Ritter character. He plays Will, has been put in a same asylum as his friend Mark, which is played by Brendan Fletcher. And they're like being held with like all the rest of the Elm Street kids that remember Freddy in like this mental institution. They're giving Hypnosil to keep them having dreams because they don't want Freddy to come back. And Will sees a news story, and it sees his girlfriend Laurie from the past. He's been gone for like 5 or 6 months. He was admitted to this hospital by Laurie's dad, which is over the facility, and he sees her there, and he wants to hear more about it. But the head person of the mental institution won't let him see it. He freaks out, and then him and his buddy Mark decide to break out of this place so he can find out if she's okay. He's just so worried about her. He doesn't know why. He can't see her. He can't write her. He can't, get in touch with her in no way, shape, or form. So his buddy does a diversion, gets the keys from the main guy. They go out and steal a truck and go to find his girlfriend. But when she was like in the police station, when she was telling about the boy that came to her house and was with her friend Gib, she was telling them that, and she heard some of the police officers say, "This is Freddy Krueger," and she couldn't hardly remember the name when she was sitting there, and they had her like in an interrogation room, and all of a sudden she was like put her head down on the desk, and she's like, "What was his name?" She said Freddy Krueger. When she does that, she wakes up in the dream world, and Freddy, she gets introduced to the little girl, details about Freddy, how he's there to kill young people. Freddy makes his appearance, and that's how she knows about Freddy. We're getting back to Will and Mark in the school, and Mark's trying to tell Laurie about how Freddy comes for them, and they've been locked in this asylum, and her boyfriend Will is like, "Hey, your dad's kept me in this asylum, and that's the only reason I've not been able to see you, been able to get a hold of you." Well, anyway, they get run off from the school because people see them. They know they're escapee from the mental institution. She's freaking out. She tells her friend Kia about this. Kia has a run-in with Freddy when she's like in the school nurse's station. She falls asleep. Jason tries to tear her nose off because she's thinking about getting a nose job. She falls asleep, and Jason pops out of the magazine and tries to kill her, but he's still not powerful enough to get him. Okay, in these movies, you always have to have stoners. You got a stoner person. You got a boy that's in love with Laurie, and he is Charlie Linderman. He's the nerdy guy, the guy like I was in school that always wanted the girl that had the boyfriend and never gonna take seriously. And he's like trying to make moves on Laurie, but she can't. She's got her mind. She's got the stuff going on with her ex-boyfriend or Will, and she's like not even paying attention to him. And of course, her friend Kia thinks he's like just a nerdy guy and shouldn't be messing with her friend Laurie. And they have like a conflict there going on. I didn't care much for the Kia character in this one. She was all right. I thought she was like I think she's a part of the Destiny's Child, I think, and she's like doing her acting stuff here with this. And she's not the greatest actress in the world. She's not horrible, but it's a Jason movie, so she's gonna get a pass a little bit on these type of movies. they like all kids get together after they've had somebody killed, a couple people killed, and they have a big party, a big rave out in the cornfield. You know, that always happens in these movies. You got to have a big party. You got to have to blow off some steam. They did it in Scream. They did it in all these movies. The teenagers always find a way to get home, out away from their parents, and have a big party with beer, drugs, everything in the world. Well, they're out in this field, and of course, Will and Mark follow Laurie to this party, and he makes his appearance to Will makes his appearance to Laurie again, and he's telling her all the stuff that's going on, why he's not been able to see her. Of course, you have Linderman, which is the boy in love with Laurie, also there. He's trying to make a move on Laurie too, because she's a super fine girl anyway. I think she's very attractive, and they all there. Plus, Jason comes in. And of course, Jason's got his mask on. Another thing I dislike about Jason in this movie is he's kind of lumbering, goof to me. He's just not like, he's just slow walking, towering giant that just, you know, he does good kills, but just he's just slow moving fella. I know he's been killed 1,000 times, and that's probably why he's got arthritis. I don't know, but I didn't like that. Kane was a little more energetic with the breathing and the running and all that. This guy, I don't think he ever got even to a running situation. Well, he comes up there, and he's a couple of kids throw alcohol on him, catch him on fire, and it had a real neat seeing him going through the cornfield on fire, spreading the flames, which was really cool. He annihilates pretty much everybody there on the at the rave in the cornfield. But he had first started out, he killed her friend Gib was drinking, and she passed out. She started dreaming about Freddy. Freddy chases her in the dream into like a locker. Well, Freddy was getting ready to kill her in the locker, and of course Jason finds her in the cornfield, and the guy was trying to take advantage of her. She was passed out and sleeping, and he stabs the guy and her at the same time, and Freddy doesn't get to kill her, and he gets mad at Jason because he was supposed to be his kill. He wanted to kill Gib, not Jason, so he's mad at Jason. Of course, Jason is causing all kinds of havoc in the rave. He's killing everybody. He's got everything on fire. All the kids have to run off. You got your stoner boy that's with them now. They all disperse. They take the van of Mark's brother that has committed suicide, and they take Mark back to his home and leave him there. And of course, Will and Laurie go out together trying to get everything back together. And of course, they run into Laurie's dad. He doesn't want Will around, and trying to tell him that Will is got bad problems. He's in a mental institution, and Will's trying to tell him that her dad killed her mother, Laurie's mother, and that's why he got put in an asylum. He says, "I know he killed him," and the dad is not like having anything to do with that. He puts Laurie in the house. Will, he almost strangles at the van. She skips out the window, gets back in when Will takes off from her dad. They are going back to get a Mark. He's at his home where his brother committed suicide a long time ago. He falls asleep. And he has a dream of his dead brother where he committed suicide in the tub, and then his brother comes back, and of course it's Freddy, and he tries to take a medicine in his dream, and it goes down the drain. Really cool scene. Freddy like totally going at every part of him, staples his feet kind of to the ground with these wires and blood. It was really cool, and he's like throwing him around with time. Will and Laurie gets there, and they're trying to get him out of the room, and it's like the bars on the room, trying to say, wake me up, Freddy's after me. Of course, Freddy burns Freddy's back on the back of poor Mark, and he dies, and they know that they really in for it now, so they tried to get all of the group back together, and one of the new cop gets up with them, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and the new cop tells them that all the stuff that's happened is the MO of Jason Voorhees, and he knows that that's who the hockey mask person is. Well, they end up going back to the insane asylum because they need to get more hypnosil because they're trying to fall asleep, and they don't want to fall asleep. They know Freddy will get them, so they go back to get the hypnosil. Of course, Freddy's always there too to stop them. Jason meets them there also. They had a really cool scene with the stoner dude gets took over by Jason because Jason turns into like this little creature and they smoke together. Jason takes over his body and he like gets all this sleeping stuff like injections, and he's like waiting on Jason, and he's got talking like Freddy, and they're trying to get out of there. All of a sudden Jason comes burning down to the hall, and the stoner guy just like stabs both injection things in the neck of Jason and like squeezes all the sleeping medicine into him, and it just like Jason like completely rips the stoner guy in half. So but he's full of his sleep. So then Jason's in Freddy's world, which is the nightmare realm, and he's like, welcome to my world. He starts throwing Jason around. He stabs Jason with his own machete. He practically everything will drop stuff on his head, and Jason's still alive. He's like, why won't you die? cool line from the movie. Of course, Jason gets back up, and even though he's like been beaten with his own sword and everything in the building, he breaks a pipe or something. Some water comes out in the dream, and he like sees it. And he's afraid of water. I did not like that part in the movie. Jason lived in the lake. I mean, so water should not be his weakness. They make that his weakness in this movie. And like Freddy like uses the weakness, and he's like, he's all scared. He turns into a little boy in the dream, and Freddy sticks his knife into Jason's head, and he's like, I'm gonna see what happened to you. And then you see kind of really have a flashback to when you never got to see any of the Friday the 13th besides his drowning. They show all the kids picking on him, his deformed head, all this stuff, and it's really kind of cool. I like that part of him showing all these scenes, so he finds out what he's afraid of. That was cool. At this time, the Scooby-Doo group of players, which is Will, Lori, Linderman, and Kia, all got him in the back of the van taped up, which is Jason, and they're trying to take him back to Crystal Lake. They're going to throw him back in the water and hope he'll be okay, and they'll leave him alone. Well, he's on the way. They keep putting him to sleep because they don't want to wake him up until they get him there, because they don't want to be nowhere around him. But they found out Jason is fighting him during the dream. So Lori has the idea. Said, if I get in there, I can bring. If I grab a hold of Jason, if I grab a hold of Freddy, I'll be able to bring him out like they did in part 1. Like, when you hold on to him, wake up, you'll have to bring Freddy out in the real world. Well, she falls. They put her asleep beside of Jason. You see, when she goes into the dream, you see the kids throwing a young Jason into the lake. When she runs over to a counselor and she finds Freddy there with the counselor and like doing his thing with the counselor, and she's like, "You gonna help him?" And he's like, he'll be all right." And she runs down to the edge of the pier, and she's like trying. Young Jason is like jumping out of the water, trying to get somebody to save him. She's like reaches to save him, and Freddy comes up and pulls young Jason down into the water, trying to drown him. And when this happens, the people in the van, Kia and Linderman and Will, are all like freaking out because he's like spitting up water. Jason's spitting up water because he's drowning in the dream. So they're like giving him mouth to Kia's trying to give him mouth to mouth, and then they end up deer runs in front of the van or something and makes Will wreck, throws Jason out the back, and they happen to be just right at Camp Crystal Lake. That's a good luck, I guess. Charm there. The rest of them get out of the van and run into like one of the cabins. Well, needless to say, when this happens, Jason disappears in the nightmare at Camp Crystal Lake in Freddy's dream. He's in, it's a dream that he was in. Freddy was in, and when he does that, Freddy like has had a hold of Jason trying to drown him, and all of a sudden he's like there, and he's like nobody in the water with him, and Freddy's like down in the water, and this is the coolest scene in the entire movie. Lori is on the dock, and by that time Freddy comes like blast out of the water, and you see it. It shows the full scene of the it's nighttime, and you see the big glowing red Freddy come up in the air over her like a torpedo, and like she like backs up on the dock, and he lands right in front of her, and he's got this new kind of looking makeup. I mean, not makeup, but face. It looks like a devil. You know what I'm saying? He's got the devil eyes and and the face is totally different. It's burnt, but it's like he's got the pointy ears. He's just like a devil-looking character, and he's like totally pissed off by her trying to stop him from killing Jason. So she's in the dream and getting ready to get killed by Freddy, and so they drag when Linderman and Will and Kia all get to the cabin. They're dragging her with her because she's still asleep, but she's on the. They had to put her under with the same kind of medication they did on Jason. They drag her into the cabin. Of course, Jason wakes up. You know, when he woke up, he was in the Camp Crystal Lake area. So he chases them into the cabin. He sees them in the cabin. He goes in there. So he's like trying to kill them with his machete. Linderman gets thrown up against the wall, and it's like a stake goes through him and makes him bleed internally. He smacks Kia away. He smacks Will away, and he's like, getting ready to get the comatose Lori that's in the floor. And about that time, she wakes up and she's holding Freddy. And when she was holding Freddy, he was showing her the stuff about, like, when she thought that her boyfriend Will had seen her kill her mother. It was actually Freddy killing her mother. So, and he's like starting to cut her up with his finger knives, and she grabs hold of him and wakes up, and he's like in the real world with Jason in the cabin, and Jason coming up on him, and Freddy is like freaking out, and shows them kind of come up together. And this is where you don't see it in the movie, but in the trailer you see her, Lori say, "Place your bets," which is Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets. But they left that out of the movie. I guess they felt that was too tacky. But that's pretty cool that they said it in the trailer. They get up there, Jason and him fight. Almost tear down the cabin. Kia and Linderman go out of the cabin. So does Lori and Will. Linderman, she's like, Kia's like, feels sorry for Linderman, and she's like, I'll help you. I'm gonna go get help. And he's like, yeah, go help. I'll be all right. When she leaves, he dies. He's of eternal bleeding, like where Jason kind of pushed him against the wall. He's dead. Kia goes up against Freddy and starts making jokes about his glove and everything like that. He kills her pretty easily. Then Jason comes out, and like Freddy and him go at it. They shoot. Freddy shoots those big tank things that's on the back of like pontoons or whatever at him. It's like missing, kind of like missiles going by him, which was really cool. I like the way that looked. And one of them hits him, knocks him back into this construction type area of the camp. Freddy drops a big concrete mixer thing on him, and then stabs like metal posts into Jason. You think he's pretty much dead, but when he is in a battle like with that, he gets knocked loose. Him and Freddy pretty much come toe to toe down at the dock. Freddy stabs his blades right through Jason's eyeballs and like takes them out. Jason gets his machete and stabs it into Freddy. Somehow Freddy gets his arm ripped off, and Jason falls into the water with his arm, with Freddy's glove. And when Freddy goes after Will and Lori again, Jason jumps up out of the water and stabs Freddy through the chest before he can kill him, and with his own arm, and kills Freddy, of course. Well, as much as you can kill a dream. Lori and Will get away. You see the last scene of the movie, which is Jason carrying Freddy's head to his cabin in the swamp, and you see Freddy wink. It was just a severed head there, and he winks, so he's not dead. So you pretty much get nowhere in this movie as far as either one being. I still technically think Jason killed him. As much as Freddy can be killed, I think he won the battle. That always was going to be a part 2, they said, but it never happened. Box office wasn't that great with this movie. It was all right. It did decent money, but it wasn't enough to save the franchise at the time. That's why we're going to be in the next one. We'll be definitely going for the reboot that they came out with through Dune's production company. I just wanted to get this review out there to you and ask you, did you like Freddy vs. Jason? Did you think it was a decent movie? I liked it. I thought it was a really, really well done movie. Special effects were good. I liked everything but the Jason. I didn't think the Jason character was correct in this one, too slow and lumbery. And then I think they should have a more energetic Jason. I did like Freddy Krueger. Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger in this. Really top-notch actor. I like the main lead in this, Laurie. And I like the Will character also. I think they all did a very decent job on this movie. I recommend it highly. If you do like the Friday the 13th franchise, I think you will like this movie. Just tell me what you thought. Tell me where you were when you saw it. Did you see it at the movie theater? I saw it at the movie theater. Tell me what your thoughts on it is. I would love to see comments on everybody. And stay tuned for the next and final one of the remake of Friday the 13th. And also, I'd like to say, check out our Patreon account. We are trying to get an Elite Bad Bird in here. If you just give $1 a month to the Patreon account, the link is in the description. You can become an Elite Bad Birds. I'll put your name at the end of every video. I'll send you this bracelet that says, join the flock. Watch Badraven on YouTube, and I'll send it free of charge. And please, please tell your friends about the channel. Just like and share this video if you liked it, and share it with your friends. And tell about the Badraven. We would love to have you, as many flock members out there, to join us. And also remember, the Badraven is your friend, and we appreciate everybody, every member of the flock that's out there. So we like to say we appreciate you coming, and we'll let you go, and we'll talk at you later, and goodbye.